In this video, what is an expat? What does it actually mean to be an expatriate? Is it just a fancy word for someone who moves abroad, or is there more to it? In this video, we're going to break it all down. What an expat is, how it's different than other terms like immigrant or digital nomad, why people become expats, and even some of the challenges and perks that can come with the lifestyle. So grab a snack, get comfy, let's explore the world of expats together. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. By the way, it really helps the channel grow. All right, let's get started. So defining an expat. What does it even mean? Well, the word itself comes from Latin. Ex meaning out of, and patria meaning homeland or fatherland. So you put that together, and an expatriate is someone who lives outside their native country. Pretty straightforward, right? But here's where it gets interesting. In everyday use, expat isn't just about geography. It carries a certain vibe. When we say expat, we're often talking about someone who's moved abroad temporarily or semi-permanently, usually for work, lifestyle, or adventure, but still keeps strong ties to their home country. So think of an American engineer taking a job in Singapore or a British teacher moving to Dubai. These folks aren't necessarily planning to settle forever. They might even keep their citizenship and identity rooted in their homeland. Now compare that to an immigrant. An immigrant typically moves to another country with the intention of staying long-term or permanently, often to build a new life and integrate into that society. Expats, on the other hand, might not fully blend in, quote unquote. They could live in their new country for years and still feel like they're on an extended visit. An expat might assimilate less than an immigrant. Of course, these lines can blur, and we'll get into that later. And here's a fun fact. So the term expat used to have a more formal meaning, like someone who was exiled or banished from their country. Think political refugees or dissidents. Nowadays, though, it's more casual, and it's tied to a choice rather than by force. So these days, who are the expats? Who becomes an expat? In my experience, they really come in all shapes and sizes. There are expats of all age groups, and some are sent abroad by their companies. Think corporate expats. Maybe a tech firm in Silicon Valley opens an office in Berlin and they send a team over to set it up. These expats often get sweet perks like housing allowances, relocation packages, and even private school fees for their kids. Then you've got the lifestyle expats. These are the folks who decide, hey, I'm tired of the 9-to-5 grind in my hometown. Let's move to Thailand, let's move to Mexico and live cheaply by the beach. They might freelance, work remotely, or even retire early, the FIRE movement, right? And with the rise of digital nomads, another term we'll touch upon, this group is growing fast, the lifestyle expat group. There are also students and academics who study or teach abroad, say an American getting a master's degree in Amsterdam. They're expats too, at least for a while. And don't forget trailing spouses, so partners who might move because their significant other got a job overseas or an opportunity. They might not have planned to be expats, but they roll with it. So what ties all these people together? Usually it's a mix of opportunity and curiosity, the desire for adventure, living outside your hometown, your home country. Expats tend to be people who are open to change, willing to step out of their comfort zone, and often privileged enough to have the means to do so, whether that's through a job offer, savings, or a passport that lets them move and earn money more freely. Because let's be real, not everyone can just pick up and go. Visa rules, finances, and family ties can make it tougher for some than others. That's part of why MyLatinLife exists. We're a full-scale immigration consultancy. We can get you a residency visa in any country in Latin America as well as Southern Europe. Golden visas, CBI, we want you to have as many options as possible in the Americas and in Europe for multiple residencies, multiple passports, and living abroad with ease. So if you're interested in working with MyLatinLife, if you have a burning question, there's a link in the description where you can book a call with us, and you'll be speaking with me directly, and we're going to get your questions answered. But back to the plot here about expats. So I wanted to get into a fun one. So expat versus immigrant versus nomad. Let's clear up some confusion here, because expat gets mixed up with other labels all the time, especially on Twitter. So first up, let's talk about expat versus immigrant. Like I said earlier, immigrants often move with the goal of settling permanently. They might apply for citizenship, learn the language fluently, and raise kids in their new country with the intent to assimilate. Expats, on the other hand, might just learn enough of the language in order to order food and plan to head back home someday, right? Here's a twist though. Some argue the difference isn't just intent, it's perception. So in some places, a Westerner might, let's say they're moving to Asia and they might be called an expat, while an Asian moving to the West might be labeled an immigrant, even if their situations are similar. It's a bit of a double standard tied to history, economics, and sometimes, just the regions of the world. Then there's the digital nomad crowd. These are the laptop warriors bouncing from country to country. Think someone editing videos in Mexico one month and surfing in Portugal the next. They're expats in the sense that they're living abroad, but they're less tied to one place. Expats often plant roots somewhere specific for a while, a couple of years, 2 to 5 to 10 years, where a nomad keeps moving every 1 to 2 to 6 months. So the takeaway, expat is a flexible term, but it's usually about living abroad with a sense of temporary adventure, not total relocation. So what's it like to be an expat, the expat life? Well, on the plus side, you get to experience new cultures, try amazing food, and see the world in a way tourists never will. Imagine waking up to the sound of the call of prayer in Istanbul, or biking through rice paddies in Vietnam, or doing a taco tour in Mexico City. It's a chance to learn, grow, and shake up your routine. But it's not all Instagram-worthy sunsets. Expats often deal with homesickness, missing family, friends, or even dumb stuff like your favorite cereal. There's the language barrier too. Ordering coffee in a new language can feel like a mini victory. But arguing with the landlord, that's the next level situation. Bureaucracy is another hurdle. Visas, work permits, tax rules. One expat I read about said renewing her visa in Costa Rica felt like decoding a treasure map. And then there's the culture shock. What's normal back home might be rude or totally baffling somewhere else. Still, a lot of expats say the pros outweigh the cons. I'm definitely on the net benefit side of being an expat. You build resilience, you make global friends and connections, and you come back with stories most people only dream of. Plus, in some cases, you save money with the lower cost of living or tax breaks that can sweeten the deal. So here's why this topic is worth talking about today. The expat life is more common than ever. Remote work is exploding since 2020, and countries are rolling out visas to lure foreigners, like Portugal's D7 visa or Barbados welcome stamp. People are rethinking where home has to be. Expats are also shaping the world. They bring skills, ideas, and cultures together, sometimes sparking innovation, right? In places like Dubai or Singapore, expats make up a huge chunk of the population. They make the economy more dynamic. So whether you're dreaming of becoming an expat or just curious about the difference between expat, immigrant, digital nomad, it's complicated, but we live in a complicated and very international world. So that's the scoop on expats, from corporate jet setters to beachside retirees. They're a diverse bunch living life across borders. So what do you think? Would you ever try the expat life? Where would you go? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear them. Again, MyLatinLife, we're a full-scale immigration agency and consultancy for relocation. So if you enjoyed this deep dive, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and hit subscribe for more videos like this. See you in the next one.